Hello. Hello. It's Dee Dee's birthday today, so we're going to sing her a happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Dee Dee. Happy birthday to you. Why was she born so beautiful? Why was she born at all? Because she had no say in it, no say in it at all. Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! For she's a jolly good fellow, for she's a jolly good fellow, for she's a jolly good fellow. And so, I don't think your thing is coming through, Dee Dee. Fellow, I don't think your voice is coming through.
My voice wasn't coming through.
Oh, Dee Dee was
well.
singing along with me, and it didn't come through.
Should we do it again?
I think we should do it again. Anyway, so should we sing it again? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Dee Dee. Happy birthday to you. Why was she born so beautiful? Why was she born at all? Because she had no say in it, no say in it at all. Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! For she's a jolly good fellow, for she's a jolly good fellow, for she's a jolly good fellow. And so say all of us, hip hip, and so say all of us, hip hip, and so say all of us, hip hip, for she's a jolly good fellow. And so say all of us. So anyway, we've had a lovely day so far, and we went out, and Jeffrey said, "Happy birthday, Dee Dee." Thank you, Jeffrey.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
Lovely to see you. And we went down to have some a nice lunch at a local cafe, which was lovely, and owned by a couple of gay boys.
The local cafe is owned by
a couple of gay boys.
Two members of our True family.
And they invited us to their wedding a few months ago. That was lovely. Yeah. Is it a few months ago or over a year now? Probably a year or so ago now, I think. Yeah. And two lovely men, and we had a lovely lunch, and I dyed my hair red
for the event. Yeah.
And what else? And then we picked up some lovely cherries, and then we thought we'd just come on and say hello to the lovely folks who join us for these live streams, and you're one of them, Jeffrey. So it's lovely to see you, and we're back in No Man's Sky, and we're also drinking this 15-year-old
Nugalia 8.
What is it?
13. Nugalia 18.
What's that?
It's a bountiful planet. I'm not sure what
No, I'm talking about this, what we're drinking.
Oh, this is...
we just poured a glass of this.
It's
something we got, and it's about 15 years old. And it's kind of nice.
It's a Brown Brothers Patricia.
We're not fancy. I'm thinking that it's. I hope it's vegan, because I did research.
It's a Pinot Noir and Chardonnay Brut.
Anyway, so we did some research, and at the time I think it was vegan. So let's. Anyway,
and just in case you think we drink a lot. No, we've had this for 15 years because we just don't drink very much. Oh, yeah,
I don't think we've had it for 15 years, but we've had it for probably, we probably had it for a long time.
We've had it for probably at least 10 years.
Yeah, at least 10 years, so that gives you an idea of our drinking things. So anyway, we thought we'd drink it today. So anyhow, how are you,
we bought
Jeffrey?
it at a time where it being made in 2005 wasn't special.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, yes, yes. So anyway, we're back in the No Man's Sky, and it's
About to
it's
touch
not
down on the planet.
there's no real
Oh,
killing or anything in this.
it's a planet with
No
pink
Man's
grass.
Sky. What's that?
It's a planet with pink grass.
Pink grass, yes. Oh yeah, pink grass. That'd be pretty amazing.
And star bulb.
And what? Sorry?
Star bramble.
Star bramble.
This big plant.
I probably should send out. I always forget to do this. Send out a little notification if anybody's around. Excuse me. So,
And look, it's got pretty views.
and we sat out in the garden today, and our garden, I wish you could see how pretty it's looking. Like we get to see right down to the river and over the valley. But in our actual part of the garden that we look at, it's got lavender and pittosporums.
Hi, David. Thank you.
Lovely bottle brushes, and we usually our little cats come over and sit with us, and it's lovely just looking down to the river, and it's just such lovely weather today in Tasmania. Really beautiful. Oh, hi, David. How are you? Lovely to see you.
Thank you for the good wishes.
Thanks for the good wishes. Dee Dee's a most wonderful person, and she's got such a beautiful...
That.
Yes, she's very self-deprecating too, but she's got such a beautiful heart and such a special individual. I think we're very lucky to have her on the planet.
And since it's my birthday, I won't deny that.
So, and she's triumphed over some real tragedy and suffering in her life, which has made her an even more amazing person. So, yeah. And how are you today, David? Did I post that already? Yeah, I have, so I better post this. I might post this on Twitter. People will be getting sick of listening to us, Dee. Let's see. Sometimes it's funny how when you're typing things, sometimes it kind of gets so it sort of stagnates for a little bit, and then it kind of runs on. What does that mean when it does that?
When it pauses and then goes.
Yeah. What is that?
I don't know. That your computer isn't dealing with it or something.
Oh, okay.
Maybe it's time to upgrade our computers, except
maybe
that kind of costs money.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. We tend to, when we upgrade our computers, do kind of major upgrades, and then hopefully they're good for another 10 years or 5 or 6 years anyway. We build our own computers.
Oh, and David was saying beautiful day here in LA too. Enjoyed the outdoors and clear post-rain views a lot today. Lots of walking. Oh, that's nice, David. I see some of your photos on Instagram. It's really nice. It has have the fires sort of stopped in LA, or are they still going? Which is kind of that's kind of amazing to think that in winter there's been fires. I mean, that's sort of scary that it's actually in winter.
Yeah.
But I imagine any sort of that's kind of knocked all the particulates out of the air and stuff. And I should probably put a little notification on my other Twitter thing.
Oh, I don't want to do that.
Let's see. I wonder, it's a really, really long time since I've been in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
But I remember it was 1983, and it wasn't very smoggy at all, but it was like, when was it? It was kind of like in December, January, I think. So I'm not sure why that was. You know, it wasn't smoggy at all in Los Angeles then.
It may have just rained or something.
It may have just rained.
Yeah.
Why do I keep getting notifications about what Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are doing? Honestly and truly. And I can't stop it on Twitter. I can't stop it from happening. I don't know why.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle?
Yes, I mean,
oh,
what?
Really?
Is it because I'm Australian or something? I don't know.
Yes, all Australians want to know about Meghan and Prince Harry.
It's weird.
Whenever we go shopping, we notice, there's the scandal mags, Women's Day and New Idea, and they always have garbage about those two.
Yeah.
And they're all often contradictory. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Queen has banished them and they will never speak again. Yeah. That Meghan is divorcing Harry, that they've just gotten together and they're having a baby. That, like all at the same time.
Yeah, it's a real soap opera.
Yeah.
Hey, Adam. David was saying no fires nearby, just brief random flare-ups. Well,
that's a good idea.
That's a relief.
That's a good thing.
That it's that it's not kind of, because I remember who was it that had that's right, it was Yasha Levine on his Substack thing. He showed this photo of this billowing smoke in Los Angeles, and it's like become normalized now. It's like in the distance, huge billowing smoke in the air, which is not okay if it's sort of becoming normalized. So how are you, Adam? So we sang happy birthday twice to Dee Dee in the beginning because she didn't have a microphone on. And we go through the usual.
It's important to hear me sing. Yes.
Why Was She Born So Beautiful, that song. And then
which is an Australian tradition.
Is it an Australian tradition?
Yes.
Why
I've never heard
anyone
so
beautiful?
Else ever
Why
sing
was she born at all? Because she had no say in it at all. That's the words. And I didn't know if that was an Australian thing or.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I haven't really heard it as an English thing.
No. Do many people sing that? I don't know. Do you know many people who sing that?
Only in Australia that I've ever heard.
Oh, excuse me. So, yeah. So, and Adam said, happy birthday, Dee Dee.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. What am I looking for? A monument.
Yeah. It's Adam says he's never heard of it. Yeah, so it must be fairly unique to this country, maybe. Do you think they sing it in the UK? Did he?
I don't think so. I've never heard it in the UK or heard of it being sung in the UK. Just here.
Yeah, and what time is it where you are, Adam? It must be pretty late.
Is there
You're a bit of a night bird, aren't you? So what planet are we heading to, or what planet?
I'm thinking I'm going to head towards the galactic core, which is one of the kind of objectives of the game for some reason.
Say that again, Didi. Sorry. What was
Heading
that?
towards the galactic core
Oh, okay.
is one of the things one does in this game.
Huh.
For no particular reason, and it's a long way generally from where people are.
Oh no, Furious Psyops is just about to come in. I'm going to have to change over to my other...
What's that?
Furious Psyops, I think, might be going to drop by, and I'm going to have to change my username so he can see what I'm saying. We have this weird technical glitch that both of us can't work out, and I can't see what he says in Robbie's live streams, and he can't see what I say. And so if you see him come in, can you let me know so I can swap over to another username?
Yeah.
Someone? That'd be great, if you wouldn't mind. Oh, this is beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
That purple grass, that'd be right up your alley, Didi.
Yeah.
So...
And now we're underwater.
What's that?
I'm just out in the water at the moment, and I'm going underwater. It's funny how as soon as you go underwater, the music stops.
Oh, okay. The music stops underwater.
Yeah.
Huh. So, yep, I get off work at 11 and have to wind down. Oh, I see. So do you work till 11 every night,
There must
Adam?
be some fishes here.
That must be weird if you have to work every night till 11.
Oh, there we go. Oh. It's jellyfish.
Wow. So you must have to kind of, if there's any events in the evening, you have to sort of either turn up late or you miss out. Oh, okay. So I might I'll just log out of this and come back as another username, the Naked Empire, because Furious Psyops is there now.
Hi, Furious.
So... Okay, there you go. Hey, Furious. Huh. So, Furious said, hey, you two, happy birthday, Didi.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, Didi.
Thank you.
We might have to sing it later on. We might have to sing your happy birthday
I think we've
song
sung
again.
It twice. That's probably enough. And I've had a few others sing. It's lovely.
Furious said, hello, hope you're both doing well. Yes, very well, thanks.
Yeah.
We were just saying to Adam and Jeffrey and David, we were just saying that we went out to, we had some lunch at this nice cafe that's owned by these two lovely gay men who invited us to their wedding about a year ago.
Yeah.
And
as I say, they're our actual family.
Yeah, they're my favorite cafe.
Choice of affinity.
Yeah, and we had a nice lunch there, and then it's such a beautiful day here today, and like I'm looking through the French doors and I can see right down to the river, over a sort of a beautiful valley, and then we were sitting in the garden today, and we've got a lot of lavender and all these different natives, so there's a lot of red and lavenders and purples, and it was lovely, and the little cats joined us, and we're having a nice sort of some kind of a, I don't know, it's not a champagne, what is it, some sort of, anyway, we've had it for about 10 years, so that's nice. So we're having that, and we bought some cherries from a local cherry plantation. So that's one of Dee Dee's favorite things, is eating
cherries.
Eating
cherries. I love cherries.
And
yes. We're fortunate that this area produces fruit rather than being a big grazing meat producing area.
Yeah, I mean they do have, sadly there's some dairy, a lot of dairy is happening up north, and there are fields with cows in them and stuff for, beef in quotes. But a lot of stuff is just orchards and stuff, isn't it, Dee Dee?
Is what?
A lot of stuff here though is just orchards
Yeah,
of
a lot of cherry orchards,
blueberries and stuff.
Tasmania has been known as the Apple Isle for
lots of apples.
orchards.
Yes, apples coming out of the wazoo.
But pears and
apricots and blueberries is a big one here.
Blueberries, yeah, a lot of berries.
Totally.
More recently, cherries, berries.
Yeah. Yes.
It's lovely.
Totally.
Fabulous.
Yummy. And but the cherries, wow, they're sort of there's a lot of places that sell great cherries. So you get a big box of them for what is it, like $25 or something
24,
Australian? 24 Australian.
2 kilos. That's
how much is
that's
it?
about £5 for
5 pounds, yeah,
$24
of cherries for $24, which isn't too bad, and they're really, really beautifully ripe and sweet,
they're gorgeous
and plump and everything. Yeah, they really know how to grow cherries here. And we actually have 4 cherry trees.
5. We have 5
cherry trees, and we're not really serious about the collection of fruit here, because we have a couple of possums who live here, and we have lots of paddy melons and stuff, and we have a lot of parrots and things that come around. When I say we have them, I mean they live on our land, and they're just wild. And so we have these 5 cherry trees. And because we've had that tragedy just recently with my brother and everything, we never got really around to.
We've had the cherry trees are not that old. We planted them when we first got the land.
Yeah.
Shortly after that.
Yes.
But they're now just kind of really getting mature to where they'll fruit.
Yes.
And this year we had a really nice year for cherries, and we had a lot of cherries.
Yes.
And it
thanks,
looked like
Adam.
we were going to have a really good crop, and we were just waiting till they got ripe, and then all of the drama and tragedy happened.
Yeah.
And so we, instead of getting out there and picking them, we waited a few days, and I went out yesterday, I think it was.
And all we could see were the little seeds hanging down.
And there was almost nothing left.
It was just
the birds had come and
loads and loads of these little stems with seeds, completely picked dry. So the and we could see that the cockatoos and the ravens and who else was checking them and eyeing them off. There was cockatoos, ravens, and those little colourful parrots. So we could see them all eyeing them off it was probably about 3 weeks ago, couldn't we, Didi? They're all coming down to see where they are in the progress of their growing, and I knew they were going to come back.
Oh,
and sure enough, in this last, and I said to Didi, they probably got their watches set, and they're counting down the days to come and have a party. And sure enough, there must have been the last 3 days, wasn't it, Didi? Just when we weren't paying attention. Of course, we don't mind at all if they eat some of them. It's totally fine.
Our objective
that's
is
totally
to have
fine.
Enough fruit.
Yes.
That the birds can have some and we can have some.
Yeah, that's our objective, is that there's enough fruit for everybody, that they can go for it. And because we want all these trees to just grow as big as they want to.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Yeah, the objective is not to have a whole lot of fruit trees and have very happy birds.
What's that? Yeah.
And not get any ourselves.
Yeah. We'd like to get a few.
We're not growing the fruit trees to feed the birds. We don't mind if the birds share.
Oh, Jeffrey,
I
went through all the, I've checked out all the blocked
we did.
things. Yeah, we did all that.
I went through Trish's thing too to see if she'd missed it. And no, there's no block.
No, there's no block. I don't know what it is really. It's
we
weird.
have to get in touch with YouTube somehow or other.
Yeah.
And sort it out.
But anyway, it was just hilarious to go out there to the to just see all these little stems with these completely cleaned. So I don't think the possums even got to it, did they, Didi? I think the birds.
I think it was birds.
Because possums usually will pull them off, and
there was a few broken branches, so the possums may have joined in.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I wished I'd seen that, because that would have been exciting. But the cockatoos, we had a whole there must have been like, I think it was about 14, all kind of on the ground looking for stuff. I'm not sure exactly what they were eating. What do you think they were eating on the ground, Dee Dee?
What?
The white cockatoos. What do you think they were eating on the ground there? You know, one day they came down.
I don't know.
What would they be eating? Just, is there little tiny seeds?
I don't know. Gum nuts.
Gum nuts on the ground.
Probably.
Oh, yeah.
I have no idea.
Anyway, there was a whole bunch of them, and they were all kind of waddling around. You know how they waddle? And and they were also checking out the cherries. So, and then I know that we've got some blueberry bushes that are about, what are they, a meter high now, Dee Dee?
Yeah.
And they've got blueberries on them, but I know they've probably gone too. If I went down there, they're probably all gone as well. But that would probably be more like possums, I think. Furious says, wow, I need to plant more fruit trees in the spring again. Yeah, when we moved here, that's the first thing we did was dig these really deep trenches and then put in these fruit trees of different kinds. So that was a great thing to do. And we have this nectarine tree that looks like we might even be lucky, and we might get, it's got a whole lot of fruit on it this time. And because we actually managed to spray it twice in winter, spray some what was it, lime sulfur or something on it, Dee Dee?
The what?
We sprayed the trees with, was it lime? What did we spray them with? Sulfate of lime, yeah. And so it's looking, it's looking really good. So we might be lucky and we might get some nectarines this year, which would be great. Oh my, the red hills. Hi, Kim. And Kim says, happy birthday, Dee Dee.
Hi. I don't see yet.
Hi,
Kim. The little things are coming up late for me.
Oh, okay. And we were just telling the story, Kim, of how we weren't paying attention to the cherries on our cherry trees. They're probably about 3 meters high now, the cherry trees. And I was saying to Dee Dee that they've probably got their little all the parrots and cockatoos and ravens have been watching the progress
until they're just right.
Until they're just right, and then they all come down at the same time, and all that was left, these little
suddenly all of the cherries were gone.
Yeah, all of them.
Actually, I got one, and we picked up a couple of them.
Yeah, I got to eat one too, and
but almost all of them were gone.
It was just little stems with little white seeds on it.
And at this point, we look like we're going to get a big crop of peaches.
Oh, yeah.
And of nectarines.
We're going to have to be careful.
And the peaches, they're starting to go for the peaches already, even though they're not ready.
Yeah, we should probably put some back. We don't mind the birds and everything getting a certain amount of fruit. That's absolutely fine. But this was kind of a wholesale wipeout, wasn't it, Dee Dee?
It was.
It was so
sad.
I would like to get to eat a peach this time. That would be nice.
Yeah.
So you never know our luck. Yeah. Anyway, and I dyed my hair red today. I don't know why I decided to do that, but I did.
She looks like Annie Lennox.
It's very red today. Yeah. I bleached it and then put red in it. Anyway, I used to dye my hair a lot when I was in a band for about 6 years. I used to put all
Trish
sorts
was
of
the lead
wackadoo.
singer in a band.
In the mid 80s to the late 80s, and this hairdresser used to do a lot of wackadoo colours and stuff in my hair. So that was fun. And Furious Syop said, I watch a gardening channel. The host is located in South Australia, I think, and he says he has to put netting bags over his fruit growing because he has lots of animals that go for it. Yeah. And yeah,
That's right.
and Kim said, if you can't
If you
eat
can't
the
eat
cherries,
the cherries,
dye your hair like a cherry. Kim
That's
said,
about right.
if you can't eat, Kim said, if you can't eat the cherries, dye your hair like a cherry. Yeah, that's true.
It's just about the same color as Annie Lennox's in that.
Oh yeah, in that
one
song.
album.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyhow, we were just saying what a lovely day it is today. Although every day here is pretty much lovely, even in winter. But it's like it's just this really beautiful temperature, and it looks like there's rain coming over the mountains there. But anyway, it's sort of so it's this soft temperature, and everything's looking kind of happy and green. And you can see down to the river through the doors here, which is always lovely. So what's been happening with people? Anybody had anything exciting or interesting or sort of surprising that's happened? Please feel free to chime in and let's see.
Okay. There's minerals.
I haven't seen Ginny for a few weeks. I hope she's okay.
The what?
I haven't seen Ginny for a few weeks. I hope she's okay.
Yeah.
Huh. Hi, Ronnie. Anyhow, because Dee Dee's this time of year for Dee Dee, it's difficult having a birthday a day before New Year's Eve, but
so from now on, my birthday is going to be on Halloween.
Yeah. Excuse me,
we're
thinking about making it on Halloween because it kind of often gets kind of messed up with the all the other kind of celebrations and stuff. So
I'll go back to my. Yes, a few days after Christmas and the day before New Year's is
not the best
time for any kind of separate celebration.
Yeah, my parents got married on New Year's Day, which is kind of not bad, really.
Yeah.
And Jan, the Wonder Cat. Happy birthday, Dee Dee.
Oh, okay. Why isn't that coming up in mine? It's all coming up very slowly.
Maybe you need to refresh.
Hi, how are you,
Dee Dee?
Jan?
Maybe you need to refresh.
No, but if I refresh, the whole thing goes off.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Sometimes we have different. Like sometimes I get things later than you, or vice versa. There's some sort of delay. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's one of those weird things. Okay.
How's things with you, Jan? And Jerry Lynn Schnoop? It says hello. Hi, Jerry Lynn Schnoop. I haven't met you before. Nice to meet you. And Geraldine says, is she on live chat or top chat? Oh, that's interesting. Actually, I'm on top chat. Maybe I should be on live chat. Is top chat better or is live chat better?
What?
Geraldine said, is she on live chat or top chat? Oh, thanks, Jan.
Live chat, I think.
Which chat? I'm on live chat now, but what does top chat mean? Oh, little guy. Rooney keeps trying to put his paw on my keyboard while I'm trying to type, and I lift it up, and then he lifts his paw and then puts it down again.
Okay.
Top chat is automatically censored. Oh, really? Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know.
Automatically censored.
Yeah, that's good to know, because sometimes there are things that, they hide, YouTube hides, and I'm not even sure why they do that, because there's absolutely nothing wrong with, none of it's problematic, really. They've just decided. Anyway, that's good to know. So there you go. Live shows all, and top chat edits out some. That's kind of BS, isn't it?
Yeah.
Kim says lots of comments get lost on top chat. They get sorted as spam. Oh wow. Okay. Well, that's great to know. I better remember that next time. Excuse me. So, is everybody doing okay with the sort of the the fiscal stimulus payouts? And well, you're probably not. But what about sort of evictions and things? I hope nobody's sort of. Oh, Jan says good day for a birthday, Dee Dee.
Oh, thank you so much.
Kim says, sorry if I'm quiet, I'm multitasking.
Yeah.
Yeah, know that one.
Yeah. I wonder if I can go and put in some windows. Nothing worse than a room with no windows.
What's that?
Nothing worse than a room with no windows.
Has anybody been to... I'm having trouble with my Discord at the moment. It's a real pain. And has anybody been to the Media Roots Radio Discord? Because, I don't know, I'm trying to sort out my Discord. I'm having trouble with the usernames, and when I sort it out, which just seems to be forever, I wouldn't mind popping in on that one. And Geraldine says, we could not afford Christmas this year, but I don't believe in Christ or capitalism, and I could not risk seeing fam anyway, so I am okay without gifts. We have roofs.
Yes, we don't really do much in the way of Christmas.
No.
I mean, I don't think either of us really count ourselves as Christians particularly.
And you and I?
You and I.
No, I don't really belong to any organized religion.
So
I have at some points, but
I tend
not
to celebrate solstice because
Yeah.
it's a universal holiday.
Dee Dee likes solstice.
I mean, it relates to the universe.
Oh, hi, Alex. How are you? Yes, we don't really sort of seem to celebrate those sorts of events and stuff. But it's okay though,
Yeah.
As long as something good comes out of it, but the whole consumption thing is a bit much. And David says solstice and equinox is the sacred celebrations. David said,
yeah. They're great celebrations. I love them. Okay. I might have to go and do some things with my freighter.
Alex says, doing well despite miserable weather and COVID paranoia up here in New South Wales. Oh yeah, really and truly. It's kind of gone a little bit pear-shaped, hasn't it?
What's that?
In New South Wales, the COVID.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully it's not going to be too crazy. It would be really terrible if it went really badly.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be okay. They sort of are very good at tracing those outbreaks, except they don't know who these recent people are, do they, Didi?
No. Well,
or have they found out who they are? I don't know.
They don't know where they got it, is the problem.
Yeah, and I heard that there were some people from Sydney went to, there was about 6 people from Sydney who went to, across the border to Surfers Paradise, across the border in Queensland to Surfers Paradise, and they all got fined $4,000 each, and then they have to spend 2 weeks in quarantine in a hotel and pay for that too, so that probably ends up costing them each $6,000, which is kind of wow, you know.
And stuck in a quarantine
seriously
hotel for
though,
a fortnight. That's good for holidays.
What's that? Oh yeah.
Stuck in a quarantine hotel for 2 weeks.
Oh yes, at this time of year.
I'm sure nobody's allowed to come visit them.
No, but also the cost.
What?
The cost.
Oh, the cost, yeah,
at this time of year would be nuts.
Well, I think the quarantine hotels is probably just a standard cost.
So and Kim said...
Because I don't imagine the quarantine hotels are really open to the public, or certain areas
No,
are
that's
open
true,
to the
hey.
public.
Do you think they've assigned just certain hotels?
Yes, I think they have.
And
well, that's in part to make sure that they can be guarded appropriately.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they are guarded.
Yeah. And Alex said people seem to be sensible, which is good. Yeah, thank goodness. And Kim said, I find Didi's birthday and the solstice to be more interesting than Christmas and New Year's Eve. Don't care much about the last 2, to be honest, yet. And then Alex said, they haven't found the patient 0 for this new outbreak. Yeah. Yeah. It's a bit of a problem. Somebody's running around in an asymptomatic state or something.
Oh.
Do you think, Didi?
What?
Patient 0 is probably asymptomatic and running around.
I don't know. It could be that those people, I mean, apparently that, I don't know which. Are you talking about the 6 people in
the
Queensland?
in New South Wales. Well, there's those 6 people are separate from the other sort of little shit shows that are happening, and the patient 0 and stuff. I know you probably know more about it than I do because you were having a look at it today. But there was also 6 people that went across the border.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they had COVID, but they certainly got a huge fine for that.
Why can't I work my freighter here?
God, but wouldn't you think though I suppose, I don't know, is Sydney in complete lockdown now, Didi? Do you know if Sydney?
Sydney is, yes.
Is it? Okay,
yes,
so you can't, you can't go out?
Lockdown. What?
You can't go out tonight?
I don't know if it's you can't go out, but certainly it's like they're saying, like probably other states and other places are saying don't.
Right.
You can't come in from Sydney.
Are they still having the fireworks thing? I think they're not?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I think they've banned people from any kind of public gathering, and I think people are limited at this point to 5 people in a house visiting.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. It's a yellow star. Why can't I get my freighter here? Where to grow?
Whereabouts, what kind of, are you sort of in northern New South Wales, Alex, or are you, sort of near Sydney somewhere? Alex said, Gladys won't go full lockdown, Gladys is the, I think the Premier, hey, it won't go full lockdown, needs to contrast herself and the Liberals with dictator Dan. Yeah, in quotes. Liberal Party is definitely playing cynical politics here. Yeah. Well, you know. And Alex said, I'm on the Central Coast between Sydney and Newcastle. Okay, then. And Jeffrey said, nice light summer rain here on Butterham Mountain on the Sunshine Coast. Oh, that's lovely. Butterham Mountain.
Yeah.
Be nice.
I think there's an outbreak in Wollongong at this point, and one in, somewhere in Sydney.
It's probably good that it's not winter, because that could be worse, couldn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. The gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
Are you literally on Butterham Mountain, Jeffrey? Just, or is that just the name of the suburb? Have you ever been to Chinrezig Institute, Jeffrey? It sort of looks like it might be somewhere near there.
Yeah, it's near, what's the name of that place?
Malula, and that's Palmwoods. It's up near sort of Palmwoods and stuff. Let me see, Butterham Mountain. Yeah, it's somewhere sort of not too far from there.
Okay, it's not
I think Malula is...
Where's my freighter?
Oh, there
it is. Where I grow.
There it is. Oh, there's Mooloolaba Road, I see. Anyway, it's very nice up there. Oh, hi, Furious Psyop. Oh, no, sorry, Terra Toddler, how are you? And Terra Toddler says, happy birthday, Didi.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. How are you today?
Thank you so much.
And Jan says, love watching you play this game, Didi. It's quite calming, like an ASMR video. Yeah, it is calming, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Jeffrey said, yes, a beautiful Buddhist retreat. Yeah, I've spent a fair bit of time there, Jeffrey, at Chinrezig Institute. Yeah.
I've not been to the...
What's that? What was that, Didi?
Oh, I'm just trying to figure out where my freighter is. I'm in the middle of doing this.
Oh, no, you can pester us about politics, Terra Toddle. That's fine. We talk about anything here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so go ahead if you've got anything interesting to impart, which you always seem to do. That's what I'm always amazed. Like the conversations on Robbie's live stream are always so interesting, and I think, wow, I really don't know much. I knew I didn't know much, but when I hear people talking, I think, wow, I really don't know much.
Yeah.
And also the takes, the analysis of things sometimes is really kind of, I think, oh wow, I didn't think of it like that, So it's really, really good to hear people's takes on things, because there's, as you would know, there's so much propaganda, and also there's so many opinions and stuff. But looking closer at things and looking at the overall picture, you can get a really interesting take on things. So yeah, never ever feel shy. Anybody never feel shy about bringing up political stuff or even what's happening at the moment with the fiscal stimulus, because that's something I find that very disturbing, what's going on there, and this sort of just a whole little political football, for this awful duopoly. They're just playing politics, and they don't give a toss about people, the public,
where people are.
So let's see. Then there's Adam said, the MAME crew is very diverse and very knowledgeable about the most random stuff. Yes. Yep. And
David said, if I lived in Tasmania, I don't think I'd care much about U.S. politics.
Seems like a nice...
It is a nice place away from the empire, but the empire
has its little tentacles.
Like any empire, affects everybody on the bloody planet.
Yeah. And also, you know, I mean, we're not separate anyway, as you would know. Everything's connected.
Yeah.
You know, if it all comes back to visit everybody, what happens, you know, in Palestine eventually comes back to visit everybody, and it's hard. I find it very hard to be happy if I know that there's dreadful suffering going on in places. It's just, it's lovely. It's lovely where we are and everything, but it's like everybody should have some sort of peace and security, and not be struggling and suffering like this when it's completely unnecessary. I mean, you can't have a life that doesn't have suffering in it, but this is sort of inflicted and imposed intentional suffering on people for a small group of people who are just psychopaths and greedy.
Yeah.
And it's totally, this planet could be totally different if you know, if we didn't have that sort of thing going on. The only reason they get away with it is because they have the army and the police force sort of backing them up, because there's not that many of them, is there, Dee Dee?
And their army is everywhere.
Yeah, and their army is everywhere. But once the army turns around, and this is something that what's her name, Michael Preisner said the other day on his podcast, that Eyes Left podcast, he said he was happy to see that there was some of the National Guard was singing along with the protesters, the BLM protesters, and he said that's a very good sign that there are people in the National Guard, this is a black guy too, who
identify with the people.
Yes, who identify with the people. And once that starts taking hold, once they see the things as they really are, who is the real enemy, and you know, it's not the people. And once that really clicks in and takes hold, that's when you see things fall. That's when you see you know, that's when empires fall, really, isn't it, Dee Dee?
And that's what I've said to you.
Because they need the army, don't they, Dee Dee? They need the military.
Yeah. I want my freighter. Where the hell is it? Yes. Basically, they need the army. And
yeah, and if they don't have that, then they have no protection. And if they don't have the police force, was always established to protect the oligarchs, and all of that, and white supremacist situation, if they don't have them, they're really effed, aren't they?
Yeah.
So once that starts to collapse, once those people in the army start clicking, and there's a lot of there's soldiers already in the army that are, you know, and that's the thing, they always want to keep this poverty draft going. Yeah. So that's another reason they keep things
said
as crap.
That really one of the major efforts the left should be doing is, in the same way as people used to use unions and have unions be a base for consciousness raising, and actually, you know, like getting people to understand how the system works and how it oppresses them. So that they could work together against it. People need to be doing that kind of consciousness raising in the police force and the military.
I don't know. I think the
police. When push comes to, I know.
I think they're too far gone, the police, but the military.
Well, I think there are probably decent people in the police force.
Oh, sure.
You know.
But I think those people get driven out because you've got to be. I think anybody who's not racist gets shat on and driven out. I think that's how it goes, don't you think, Dee Dee?
Yeah.
Anyway, let me see. Adam said, hang on a sec. Alex said, Adam, I just watched the Buffy where Xander gets eye gouged. My blood is boiling. I've never watched is this Buffy the Vampire Slayer? Anyway, let's see. Then Jeffrey said, CDC just admitted masks do not prevent viral transmission. Oh, did they just do that recently? And then David said, we need to all join together to take power away from the few who exploit us. Exactly.
Yes, exactly. But it's important to, like, actually reach out and see if you can get some people on side who are within those forces of repression, those the police force and the army and the National Guard and so on.
Yeah.
Because those are the people who will be used against you. But they all have family.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
a lot of them are there because of the poverty draft, which means they have poor family.
Yeah.
They have family who, you know, just because they joined the military for some sort of financial security doesn't mean that they think what's going on is fabulous.
No. Yeah, there are...
Especially when they're asked to, you know, attack or whatever their own people.
Yeah.
And I think that
it might come to that. It might come to that, and then I think it's going to turn around. People are already... I think people are seeing... I think there's a lot of people seeing the duopoly for what they are, or at least certain members of the duopoly. And then that's a great thing, because, you know, once people... And if people have... If they keep with this ridiculous trying to grind people into the ground like this, that hubris is going to come back to bite them in the ass, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
They're not smart enough to realize you got to keep throwing people crumbs to keep them, you know, sort of, you know, to keep them away from violent revolution. You have to throw them something. Don't you?
And I think, you know, like, people forget that, like, in the Vietnam War, while the public protest was a big thing, a lot of the reason they gave up on Vietnam was at that point, you know, people in the military, you know, you had the Vietnam veterans against the war, and then you also had people who were actively fragging officers and so on, throwing fragmentation grenades into the officers' tents. And I mean, when you get to the point where your army is actually attacking its own officers, you know you're in trouble.
Yeah. Dee Dee used to help.
I used to work with the resistance.
Yeah, Dee Dee used to be take draft. Was it draft dodgers or?
It was actually deserters, man.
Do you
I
call
did
it deserters?
draft
Sorry,
counseling,
deserters.
but I also helped
take them to Canada.
Get to Canada.
Yeah, which is an excellent thing.
That was mainly deserters from Fort Ord and the other California bases.
They've got. This is something you don't hear, but there's deserters in the in that recent video I did of Sergeant Kevin Benderman, who was a conscientious objector. At the time where he refused to go back to Iraq, there was two people he knew, two soldiers he knew, tried to kill themselves because they didn't want to go back, and there was some others who were deserters. They just took off and went to Canada.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't hear about that stuff.
Yeah.
That was way back in 2005 or 2004. This is just when the Iraq War was happening. So, you know, it'd be interesting to hear of how often that happened. Well, we know how many people kill themselves, like how many soldiers or veterans or whatever, 22 a day. I mean, why don't we hear about that? I remember, you know, PBS, this is many years ago, when I didn't realize that PBS was part of the problem. Every day they'd show people, I don't know if they still do it, but they used to show the soldiers who were killed in Iraq. And I don't know if they still do that, but
I don't think they do.
They probably don't. But I mean, why don't they show people, the soldiers who are killing themselves? And even more important, why don't they show the how many people have been killed in Iraq every fucking day? You know, and children and stuff. I love the way it's always, you know, like Tulsi Gabbard used to do this, hardly ever, always mentioning about the soldiers and not even acknowledging the carnage. That was always, I always used to find that really odd that she would do that. I mean, how can you do that, Dee Dee? How can you kind of only talk about the soldiers, the loss of soldiers, and not talk about all these other completely innocent people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Anyway.
I don't know, sweetie.
I can't.
It's kind of disgusting.
So anyway, let's see. Skeptical Mantis Channel said Team Jagoff. I'm not sure what that means. I don't know if that's a Jimmy Dore reference with the force the vote thing. And then or is this just, I don't know what that means. Anyway, so David says institution of policing in US stems from slave patrol, impossible to reform, structurally white supremacists. Yeah, that's right. Yep. I love the way people try to deny that's the case when you mention the Second Amendment and really what it was kind of invented for. People just don't want to acknowledge it. I mean, how can you do anything with folks that won't even acknowledge the truth about that? Anyway, so Alex, maybe we need another Jimmy Hoffa to be honest. And David said, need to relocate police funding towards housing, healthcare, and rewilding the earth. That sounds good. Adam says, oh wow, that's awesome, Dee Dee. Was that about the helping deserters?
People,
yeah. Yeah, that was pretty groovy.
Yeah.
So she's a good girl.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alex said, quote, you wanted more soldiers, so we said, sure, fuck, here's a fresh batch of people with setbacks, the poor folk, in fact, they're all broke because of your debt traps, Sage Francis. And then Jeffrey said, Vietnam and Iraq, 2 more wars started by Uncle Sam's lies and dragged Australia into. Yep. We had a few conscientious objectors, fortunately, in Australia at the time. I'm just trying to think. Yeah. Jeffrey said, my father got a dose of Agent Orange out of his trip to Vietnam. I'm sorry, Jeffrey. And Tara Toddler said, what is the next enlistment-inducing event? Yeah, exactly. What is the next enlistment-inducing event? Yeah. I was worried that this bomb out in Nashville, they were going to make it out it was from some Iranian. You know, every when I heard that, I thought, oh no, I hope they don't turn this into something about Iran. So I was sort of surprised that it was just it appeared to be just someone who was having a very hard time and just killed themselves in front of, they were having some mental illness issue of some kind. Yeah. Every I don't know if you've noticed this, Tara Toddler, but every just after New Year's, Donald Trump tries to he does some major saber rattling towards some country. It's either DPRK or something like that, and I'm wondering whether just after New Year's he's going to start some nonsense up about Iran, because the clock is ticking, and he probably wants to do something to please Adelson before the 20th of January, so I don't know. He seems to be too busy talking about the election, though, really, and patting himself on the back about his supposed
win.
Suggestion about the $2,000. Yeah, and that we won big.
We won so big that they can't stand
He's living
it.
his own reality.
Yeah, really.
Tara Toddler said, okay, the, quote, gentle handoff, end quote, to Biden. Yeah. I wonder if Biden has times where he's quite lucid and then times where he's not, or whether he's on constant drugs all the time now, or whether they only give him drugs to help him through a speech. It'd be interesting to know, because sometimes he sort of manages to look like he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And then you get him not knowing whether his grandchild is his dead son. I mean, where is he? What's happening?
Yes.
They either they have him on drugs now all the time? Terrace Toddler says presidents will change, but the policy towards Iran is set in stone. Yeah. Yes, they're all Zionists. A lot of them, aren't they? Anyway, all sort of wanting to do that kind of thing towards Iran. So it's just a matter of time, isn't it? Hoping that Iran will be completely smashed by all these economic sanctions so they can go in and mess with them. But I think the allyship of China, Russia, Iran, Venezuela is sort of messing with US plans, helping one another out. When you can't isolate a country and mess with them, that's a real problem. And that they're having trouble isolating Venezuela or isolating Iran because of Russia and China. And so that's a great thing. And Terra Toddler says, I hope it does for the sake of the Iranian people. Yep. Yeah, like there's an Iranian supermarket of some kind has popped up in Venezuela, which is good. So I've got a little, I've got Nandi on my lap right now, and he's very purry. Let me put my microphone up. Hey, Nandi. Hey. He's rubbing his face on my microphone. I don't know if you can hear him.
Hey, little sweetie pea.
Hey, Nandi. He's very purry. Let's see. And Terra Toddler says, oh, okay, she's already said that. And you've actually heard that, did you, Adam?
What's that?
Nandi purring.
Oh, yes.
So what else have you anything political that you are finding interesting? Any take on anything, Terra Toddler, that you'd like to share? I always find your comments very interesting.
Yeah.
So is Bernie Sanders doing this filibuster right now? Like, has he started doing the filibuster for this Mitch McConnell saying no to that $2,000? Adam said, I've been watching a lot of Alison McDowell and human capital bond markets. It's complicated but very interesting. Oh, okay. I think Dee Dee watched some Alison McDowell.
Yeah.
I think it was Real Politics. Alex shared
I think
a link.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
My own take on the Alison McDowell thing is that she's got a lot of information, but I think she interprets it in the worst possible way. And it's not to say that the information is good, but it's a bit like, I think the World Economic Forum, for what it's worth, is a UN type organization, and it's meant to look at the global economy in a more holistic way, and there are people who are concerned about equity and concerned and trying to make things better. But like the Brundtland Commission on the Environment, or the IPCC, or anything else that is an international thing, you've got all kinds of nations who've got a stake in it, and their representatives are there. And so whatever the commission or committee has to come up with has to be approved by them. And in the case of the economy, they've got stakeholders, which are major corporations, and you've got to have it kind of acceptable to them. Or
this is in the Economic Forum.
The World Economic
They have stakeholders,
Forum, which is something she talks about a lot.
Yeah.
Which is the organization that talks about the Great Reset. And Economy 4.0 and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And the thing is, their reports will say things like, we have a choice between, and we really should be going for more equity, but it may go the other way. And they're aware of the fact that it can be misused, but they come out and say that, it's an opportunity. They won't say, corporations are corrupt shitheads engaged in economic imperialism and monopoly capitalism, and they're liable to destroy, society and the planet, because nobody's going to sign off on that. But they kind of give hints of that. Because they're bureaucrats, and even if they have a bit of a social conscience. And so it's kind of disgusting in a way. They will put those things out. And yet they won't really come to the party with saying, no, the world has to change. They can't, because institutionally they just can't. They won't get approval. They won't get acceptance from all these stakeholders and nations and so on. And like the Brundtland report, that was Our Common Future, the one that, it came out in 86 or something like that. A long time ago now. And it basically said, our way of life on this planet is not sustainable. And they kind of invented the idea of sustainable development. But when they were talking about sustainable development, they were really talking about developing sustainability rather than sustaining development. And what they were saying is society has to change markedly, radically, or we are not going to survive.
I bet that
and they
went
gave
down.
lots of examples of that. They gave lots of studies and lots of things. But being one of those UN kind of organizations, it had to be kind of mealy-mouthed. And, they couldn't come to the conclusion and just straight out say, we're living a totally stuffed life. They more or less did say that. But left it open that maybe with technology and technical fixes, and if we let corporations do good things, then we could move forward or develop sustainability. And of course, governments tended to use it.
That worked out well, didn't it?
Well, governments tended to turn that notion on its head and talk about sustaining development. Sustainable development was not development that is planetarily, ecologically sustainable. It is how to sustain development. All the opportunities for capitalism in doing the right thing. But even with all of that, even with all of the mealy-mouthed shit that they had to come out with, they were still pretty strong, and it resulted in the Rio Forum in, 89 or 90 or something like that. But look what happened. You have the Paris, the United States pulling out of the Paris Agreement, and Donald Trump just completely eliminating things like the EPA, and destroying environmental protection left and right. And Australia is right behind that, and it's a shit show.
It really is. And Biden, and Mr. Fracking Biden, and
it doesn't matter. I mean,
John Kerry is John Kerry is like he used to work for. Oh, who was it? Well, anyway, for him to be one of the green, one of the sort of environmental czars or whatever is ridiculous. I forget who he used to work for. I think it was like, I don't know, was it an oil industry or was it like something like I don't know, some Wall Street thing. Anyway, I think it was something to do with some fossil fuels, and I'm thinking, he used to work there, and now he's environmental czar? Come on now.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry, I cut you off. Sorry, Didi, what were you saying?
Yeah. Oh, I was just saying, like the World Economic Forum, or whatever it is the WEP, World Economic Project, or something or other, that Alison McDowell talks about, is not the puppet masters planning on taking over the earth. They talk about the incredible technological advances and what that might do to society. And this is sort of the economy 4.0 sort of thing. And the fact that all of this kind of gets away from any kind of a regulation. Basically, governments can't regulate. They can't think that far ahead. They're not flexible enough to respond to these things. And all of that is true. And they say, like, if they don't, then bad things could happen. And that kind of flexibility could allow for a much more democratic, people-centered development, but it won't necessarily go that way. It's a bit like, is there hope? Well, yeah, there's hope, but I remember doing a whole rave in development and conflict, which was a PhD course I was lecturing in. And I went through a lot of the problems in the world, and people said, well, is there any kind of hope? And I said, well, yeah, there's hope, and went through a number of hopeful developments. And I said, I want to stress that the possibility of doing the right thing isn't the same as the probability of the right thing being done. That there are these forces and systems which tend, like, in a lot of ways, capitalism works as if it is a conspiracy without actually requiring anybody to conspire. It's just the rules of the game are such that people end up having, if they want their corporations not to be eaten by other corporations and destroyed, they have to maximize their exploitation of nature and of people. Because if they don't, someone else will. And the whole notion of the game is that whoever is bigger will eat the ones who are smaller.
That's right.
It is that kind of a thing. And you've seen since the global deregulation of the economy in 1980, these boom and bust things. There was this massive expansion to 87, and then the big collapse. But during that collapse, it's like the ones that survived are the ones that were big enough that the ones who were collapsing, they could eat them, and then had enough resources and enough capital and assets that when it came to them, the collapse, they could cover their debts in a way. And it's just, like, but the World Economic Forum, the important thing is to realize is that it talks about the Great Reset and things like this is an opportunity, COVID, for us to really look at what we're doing and arrange something different. And there will inevitably be arrangements for things that are different.
Yeah.
But it's not saying that they're necessarily going to be good.
Yeah.
And it's sort of saying it can, and Alison McDowell talks about it being under the cover of the potential for environmental improvement or social improvement. I don't think it's under the cover. I think they're saying this could be done.
Yeah.
And it could be, but that doesn't mean it will be.
Yeah, sure.
And they also indicate that it might not be. It might also be an opportunity for really bad things to happen. And I think the WEP is actually much more neutral and just trying to describe that. But the thing to remember is that politicians are just people.
Yeah.
And they have the same greedy, mindsets, the Donald Trump sort of thing of, he's not really concerned with all this airy-fairy, master manipulation, detailed puppet master stuff.
Yeah, he wants to line his own pocket.
Syria's got oil. Grab it.
Yeah.
Send in the troops.
Yeah.
And he's proud of that. And, you get the police and they're just, no, black people, bad, shoot them, kill them.
Yeah.
Antifa, there's a guy who's shot a Proud Boy type neo-Nazi.
Well, they
go out there and just shoot him.
Yeah, they
don't arrest him, just kill him.
They don't know if he did do that, but even though I think he might have said that he did. Michael Reinold,
Michael Reinold said he did kill somebody, and he said it was in defense of somebody else.
Yeah.
But they didn't ask any questions.
No.
They just went and killed him.
Yeah.
They didn't go to arrest him. They went to kill him.
Yeah.
That's a death squad.
Yeah. Well, a death squad overseas.
You can dress it up and talk about it as
the drone killings are all death squads without any.
You can talk about extrajudicial killing. It's just a death squad.
Yeah, sure.
And Donald Trump kind of approved of that. He said, it just took 15 minutes. We just set him in. They weren't going to arrest him. They were going to kill him. You know, and that's Donald Trump can talk about law and order, but there's nothing legal or orderly about that.
No.
That's total fascism.
Yeah.
But I think
anyway, what
Alison looks at that stuff, and I think there are alarming things about that and the potential for things like that to be used.
She's not pointing out though that the GOP is the problem, though, is she? She's
more talking about it in the framework of, it gets a bit into that, world order. The new world order. There's the puppet masters who are going to control and watch everything everybody does and control their behavior. And the thing is, people don't really let that be controlled either. It's like food stamps and things like that. Okay, food stamps in the United States for years have been...
Have we lost people here?
Have I lost people?
No,
I should shut up.
No, don't shut up. I just wondering what people might be thinking, like Tara Toddler or... Oh, hi Greg, how are you?
Yeah.
Don't stop talking. I just want to make sure that we haven't lost people. I was wondering
I'm not
what
losing
people. No. I was just wondering if people were still there and what they thought of that so far.
Yeah.
No. But please continue, Dee Dee. I was thinking about having a piece of your birthday cake thing.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, so I haven't seen the video that Alison McDowell was sort of talking on. I think we actually hand over a lot of power to some of these more kind of that new world order narrative, and we people get all kind of caught up in fear and learned helplessness because of a narrative, as if there is this bunch of people controlling everything. I mean, there are 7-something billion people on the planet, and there's a few hundred of these people. I mean, we're handing a lot of power to a small group of people, and without as I say, without armies and police and stuff to protect them, they're effed. They're completely effed. You know, they need those things. So it's like, I think, I really kind of think some of that continuous narrative that there's a special new world order that's going to take us here and take us there, and we have no agency and stuff, I think becomes almost like a psyops in itself. You know what I mean?
It makes it look like it's so big.
Yeah, so big
and
that
we're so helpless before it.
And really, it's not like that. Really, it's not like that at all. So I think it's in some ways, yes, of course, there's forces that are working against,
and they're huge, and
they are huge in some ways, but there is a lot more. I mean, you know, that, have you ever seen that cartoon where you've got some guy standing on the edge of this plank over this cliff, and he's standing there, and there's all these people standing on the other end, and that's what's holding up the guy that's on the plank that's on the cliff, and it says people don't realize their own power, and all it takes is for people to jump off that plank, even if it's just one by one or in a group, and off the plank, off that power, that guy who thinks he's got power, off they go down the cliff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot. I just feel like I don't know. I just kind of have a problem with that whole. There's a bunch of people that are basically controlling everything, and there's nothing really that we can do. Almost, you know.
Yeah.
And it also feeds into that, you know, the reality TV sort of thing where it's all sort of drama and fear. It's like almost sometimes people feel so powerless that they don't think that they can do anything, affect any change on any level, and it's like it because they feel like that. It's sort of becomes psychologically amenable to that notion that everything is beyond their control. Everything, because it's controlled by this group of people, the New World Order. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's easier to sort of hand your power over to something that seems like it's beyond your control than to actually sort of see that there's some things that if everybody took some control and did something individually or in a group organized outside of these awful sort of small groups of powerful, you know, of small groups of politicians and stuff like that, you know, we might actually get somewhere instead of like, and you know, the whole fear thing, which is just like little cat's whiskers forward, you know, getting all excited because there's more fear, all the adrenaline. I mean, there's been a lot of a cultivation of that sort of getting the masses to enjoy violence and fear. You know, violence and fear. And those, you know what I mean? And those sort of narratives about this very sinister New World Order feeds into the fear thing, you know?
Yeah.
And gets little whiskers forward, you know? It's much more attractive than actually sort of doing the non-sexy things of organizing on the ground and sort of going to protests and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that kind of thing, and organizing outside the duopoly and that kind of thing. Anyway, that's my little spiel for today. I'm just going to get a piece of cake.
I made fruit cake for my birthday. It's or as English or Australian people might call it, Christmas cake. It's yeah, you were. I want some.
What do you think about that? Do you agree with any of that, Petey?
Well, yeah, I think part of the whole psyops thing is to create a sense of helplessness. I think it is an objective. Just like I think that the hang on, what am I doing? I'll stop doing this for a minute. I think what was I going to say? I think the learned helplessness is a big thing. And I think one of the things that they actually identified in that World Economic Forum as part of the new economic order sort of thing, Economy 4.0, was the notion that they have shifted from markets like mass markets to lifestyleism. And I noticed that in the 60s, where capitalism was able to focus. Okay, you talk for a few minutes, and it's in the little fridge. It's in the little fridge on the third shelf down. In the 60s, with the power to the people are actually in control. When we marched on City Hall in San Francisco and the People's Park and taking over Golden Gate Park and that kind of thing, and saying, this is public space. We are the public. We get to decide what happens here. We are the people. We have the power. I think a lot of that got diverted, and I always saw it as a psyops thing, where they took that, we want control, and turned it into, you can have control of your own life by getting your own land and back to the land. And then they started, Mother Earth magazine, and they can sell you stoves and solar collectors, and so you can be off grid and all that kind of stuff. But it doesn't really change the system in any way,
right?
Because it can always, come in and frack underneath your land or take over your land or do whatever it wants, ultimately. But it created a whole market for people who wanted power, and they used that as a market for people to do self-sufficiency. Instead of, people power, it became self-sufficiency.
Right. Yeah.
And
it's part of that individualism in a way.
It fed into the individualism thing.
Yeah.
And got a lot of people. And of course, in order to get that bit of land, you have to save up money or borrow money or whatever. And then you were a market for all kinds of things, old world tools and all kinds of great stuff. Learning how to do your own things, your own, making canning your own food or preserving your own food.
Which is good and everything, but...
Which is great. It's all good stuff to know.
Yeah.
But it was a kind of corruption in a way.
Yeah.
And it was using that impulse to wanting control and turning it into individual control, which became a marketable commodity. And I think that was a real, psyops diversion thing. It's just like the personal growth movement of people wanting to really existentially look at themselves and say, who am I? What do I really value? What do I want in the world? What matters to me? And all that stuff that was there in the 60s in Esalen and some of those places. There was a real resurgence, not just Esalen was more the commercial version of that, always. But
I don't know what Esalen is.
Esalen is a center for personal growth, self-development sort of thing. It's in Big Sur in California, and it was considered one of the seed things for a lot of that. I think Fritz Perls worked there and a whole lot of psychologists and so on. But there was things like the Mid-Peninsula Free University, which was free, running in Palo Alto. And they had all kinds of inner growth things. And you see that with the plethora of workshops and that kind of stuff, a lot of which were around, looking at who we are and what we want. And in the 60s, a lot more of that stuff was free. People did yoga, and it didn't cost anything. There was, Tai Chi classes, and it didn't cost anything. And people did rebirthing, and it didn't cost anything. They did it with each other and with friends. And with, there was a lot of that kind of stuff. And it was all about, who are we? What do we really want? We don't, all this consumption, what's it get us? Why do we do it? Do we want this future of, finding the person you love, having a big expensive wedding, going off and getting your house and then having children and buying lots of stuff, and then getting divorced and have separate apartments and each person can have refrigerators and stoves and all the rest of that stuff. And saying this isn't actually what we want. We want community, we want connection, we want, to be more in tune with nature, to live a more happy, constructive, creative life. We don't want to just make money. We want to live a life where we can express ourselves in a lot of ways, and in a lot of that it doesn't cost money. One of the things with a lot of art is it really isn't that expensive. You can make art with anything. Really. Some things cost money.
The whole
spend money on art, but
Didi, the whole industry of sort of meditation and yoga and all of that, which has become
what happened after that?
It's become a whole became a whole yuppified sort of thing. But I see that as a lot of that.
When I was
Didi,
a teenager,
I see a lot of that as actually, and how even psychologists now are doing that, and of course it's good and everything. Meditation is good and all of that, but I see that
mindfulness is just a product.
I see, it's become a product, but I see that the way they're using it now is for people to adapt to an unadaptable and horrific anti-people system. Capitalism is anti-people, anti-non-humans, anti-earth, and it's a part of
to get you to adjust and calm down.
Yes, exactly. Get you to adjust, and even to the point of getting you to adjust to the climate emergency and the impending fucking imminent human extinction almost. It's like it's a way of managing the masses to get everybody to sort of think that it's not the external issue, it's not all of what's happening out the umbrella of the corporations helping create the climate emergency and the politicians helping that along. It's not about that. It's about you and how you look at it and how you deal with it. And that's you know what I mean? So putting it back on the consumer or on the public that it's their problem and they need to manage themselves with meditation and all that kind of stuff. And meditation, of course, is good, but not in the way that it's being used now, to get people to quell the masses and, and sort of, and make you think that you're the problem, that you're not managing, and that, everything else is going along, but you need to manage yourself and you need to become a peaceful person and deal with this shit show that's happening around you that you have that it appears you have no control over. So that's something that I've noticed that's what they're doing now, is kind of turning that whole, what was a wonderful and often free thing, into these sort of very expensive classes for people who have plenty of money, and then also telling people that they need to, kind of adapt to the shit show. Well, fuck that is what I say to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fuck them and their fucking bullshit ecocidal fucking capitalist fucking death machine. And fuck having to adapt to any of that bullshit. I refuse, and I refuse to engage in this fucking neoliberal narrative they've got going, that is where you don't deserve free healthcare. You don't deserve things that are for the people, that are absolutely a right. You don't deserve that.
Yeah.
Well, fuck that is what I think to that.
Yeah.
And I think everybody should refuse to endorse or support that neoliberal fucking fascist narrative that they've got going.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
absolutely.
So,
and I just it was a real push, where that commercialization that happened in the 70s and 80s, where it took that energy that was there in the 60s and commercialized it.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually kind of a psyops thing.
Yeah.
It was a psychological warfare in a way.
Yeah.
And it took things like, I mean, I remember coming across Zen when I was a teenager. A friend of mine, Annie Derby's mother, started the Haiku Zendo. And it was just in her garage. And Suzuki Roshi came from San Francisco and would come down. She would go up and drive him down to her place, and he would do a talk once a week. But, people would come and do Zen sitting in the morning, and the Zen master would come once a week, and it was free.
Yeah, exactly.
There was no expense. It was Dharma.
Yeah,
Dharma is supposed to be free.
Yeah, really.
And be taught.
Yeah.
And that was the ethic, in a way, that all of these things were supposed to be free.
Yeah, really.
These are for people to open up and develop develop their consciousness, develop their power, develop their ability and that kind of stuff, develop their personal health,
Yeah.
And it was all supposed to be free, and it's become this thing where, I mean, if you want to do yoga now, it's bloody $10 and $12 a class, $15 a class here at least, and that puts it beyond the reach of
and that's probably
me.
And that would be considered cheap, Didi, for most. Like in other places, it's like a lot more than that. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and I mean, it was. But there were a lot more gaps, in a way.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people who could live within the gaps.
Yeah.
I mean,
yes.
I did theater myself. Trisha done music. I mean, there was a lot more of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where people who do music and art and theater and stuff usually are subsidizing that themselves, unless they're one of the very few people who are making money at that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's almost nobody.
Yeah.
You do that because you love it.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of kind of live theater and dance and art and things like that.
In the 80s.
I had artist friends who subsidized their art by doing nude modeling and
I had a lot of friends who were doing, theater
or cleaning or whatever.
Yeah, there was heaps of people doing theater in the 80s,
but at
and
that
could
point
survive.
you could have like a part-time job doing a bit of cleaning.
Yeah.
Do your art and still afford to live.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
And with austerity, that's closed down.
Yeah.
So
they've
much
managed
of that has
to
been closed down.
shut that out. So they've shut down the little rat bags, the little rat baggy theater things.
Yeah, more and more they've shut down the little rat baggy theater, the little
because they can't afford
musos, the live music venues.
And now it's getting to beyond the rat baggy things now with the look at how the COVID has devastated. And COVID is real, of course, but I'm just saying how the government has managed this. They actually said they were going to give the arts community a few $100 million, and they never coughed it up.
Yeah.
But they're quite happy to see arts destroyed in this country because we're run by a conservative wannabe authoritarian.
Yeah. Adam is saying yes, 100% on the mindfulness comment. Yeah, I mean it's a complete. I mean it's not a scam because mindfulness is a real thing, but it's been taken up by psychology and used as a way of making people complacent.
Yeah.
Yes,
it's like they don't want to in psychology unless you mention. We're talking about now in Australia. Unless you mention about the shit show of the neoliberals in office and how they're bringing in austerity more and more and making it unlivable for people, and also the climate crisis, how nothing real is being done about that, and it's probably too late anyway. But anyway, there's not anything real that's being done about that and all that. Unless you mention that, they don't sort of even consider those overarching things that affect people psychologically and make them feel like they're helpless, which, in some ways we are, because we've got people really running the show in that regard. Look at Donald Trump undoing everything,
Yeah.
But it's like, they don't even look at that. So it's like they don't even acknowledge that there are things that would be making a lot of people really quite depressed and anxious. They don't even acknowledge that, do they, Didi?
No.
They just kind of, it's as if it's just all these different life situations that are happening for you. That's what's making you feel anxious and depressed. Not that there's this fucking overarching thing with imminent human extinction on the horizon and you feel completely...
Or that you're completely impoverished.
Yeah, or that you're completely impoverished and there's no... all that kind of stuff. And I have a real problem with the way, psychology is in Australia in that regard. Just ignoring these major austerity things. And sort of like as if not even acknowledging them. How on earth can you really be a real therapist if you're not even acknowledging these things that are sort of really beyond people's control, the austerity stuff?
Yeah.
Unless you're really pulling in a good wage. Anyway, I don't know what other people think of that. We've been kind of rambling on. So anyway.
But
yeah, pretty much the same in psychiatry as Kim was saying, and don't get us started the way the psychiatry treats gender diverse people. Really, I don't know, not good. Anyway, so I can't. Adam has said something, but I can't sort of show
like
it
because
the
getting
stupid.
Prescribed.
Here, I'll just.
Gazan's getting prescribed antidepressants after getting fucking bombed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Really?
And I'll repost that.
Hang on, I'll repost it. I'll just
take the
no, it's all right. I'll just
fucking out, and it'll be.
Did he? No, it's just I'll just post it like this. There you go. For some reason, YouTube. Yeah, I did.
Okay.
For some reason, YouTube just kind of doesn't like the word fucking and.
That's what it is.
And a whole bunch of... there's other things they don't like which are just ridiculous.
I don't think they would.
It might even be Gaza.
No, because as you said, Gazans and that.
Gazans, yeah.
Isn't.
Oh, it's all right. You can curse. I think it's more the. They hide all sorts of things that are weird that don't make any sense.
Yeah, Adam, you're not allowed to curse. This is a Sunday school YouTube.
Yeah, yes. Really.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah, the world is falling apart, but you're not allowed to say a naughty word. That'll protect people.
Yeah, I'm amazed that they have a problem with the word shit. That just amazes me. I mean, it's just feces, for fuck's sake. Yeah. What's wrong with the word shit? I don't understand that.
Diddy,
what is wrong with the word shit?
When
you were growing up, was that a problem in the US?
What, shit?
Yeah. Did people have a problem with that?
Why would you?
Well, did they though? Did you find people thought that was a really naughty word?
Not particularly.
Yeah. I didn't even know where that comes from.
Yeah. Indium. Do I have indium? I think I have indium in the freighter. Jesus.
Life within accountable algorithms, yeah, said Greg. How are you today, Greg? I think it's going to rain. It's sort of
yes,
I can see the clouds.
It's going to rain here.
I think the clouds are coming over. It feels like it's getting, and I don't know if it's just the clouds, but it feels like it's getting a little bit like it's starting to get a little tiny bit dimmer outside.
Yeah, I think so.
Terra Toddler said, Ivanka tweeted about Ohio fueling speculation as to a presidential run, which would make sense as power wouldn't like to see the MAGA momentum rotting on the vine. And then said, not looking forward to weird, specialized QAnon narratives about her. Yep. So, is that Ivanka fueling speculation she's going to run as in a presidential run? Yeah, I could see that. If Kamala Harris doesn't become the first woman president, like if Biden manages to hang in there and she doesn't sort of, yes, I could see Ivanka doing something like that. Although I think they want to get somebody who's really fascistic and some man who's like a full-on charismatic fascist to
yes, that's what you want. Charismatic fascist.
I think she's a little bit. She comes across as too nice, even though she's probably not. She's not really
nice at all.
But yeah, I don't know. And Greg says, fine, just playing guitar, sitting in front of computer. Supposed to rain here too tonight and tomorrow. Oregon coast. Well, that sounds nice. I love the rain. I really do.
I love the rain too. Rain is wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. What am I doing? Anyway, I just think there's so much disgusting.
Oh wow, I was just looking at Greg's. One does not live on the Oregon coast unless one likes the rain. All rainforest. That sounds good.
Yeah.
That sounds really healthy.
I love that area. I lived in California, but in the redwood areas along the coast. That was lovely. I lived in New Mexico too, but that was not rainforest. There was almost no rain there.
Yeah. There was no real kind of. It would just evaporate in the air, wouldn't it, in Santa Fe?
Yeah, the water would sublimate. It would just disappear into the air. And we used to, when it snowed, because it was high plateau desert where we were, it was a mile in the air. We would go out and shovel snow into 55-gallon drums, or 200-liter drums as they are known in Australia. And so that when the snow melted, we actually got to keep some water, because mostly it was so dry, we got very little snow. And when it did snow, it just vanished when the sun came out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder what the weather's like there now.
It went straight to water vapor.
I wonder what it's like there now, Dee Dee.
In New Mexico.
Yeah.
Dry. Still.
Yeah.
Really dry.
Where do people get their water from when it's so dry?
Mostly wells.
Okay. But where did those wells obviously have to, get their water from somewhere? Oh, you were talking about underground groundwater.
Yeah, groundwater.
Oh, okay.
And that was a major issue around Santa Fe because of it.
Furious Psyops, I'm off to sleep. Have a good day, night, you two. Great to hear your stories and discussions. Lovely to see you again, Furious. We'll see you again, hopefully, and have a lovely sleep, and Happy New Year if we don't see you between now and New Year's Day or whatever.
Yeah.
And thanks for dropping by. Always lovely to see you. Are you going to bed too, Adam? Oh, you're saying goodnight to Furious. Right. Sweet dreams, Furious. Good night.
Good night.
Yeah, so Adam says no. I'll be up for a while. Ha ha ha. I hope you get some decent sleeps though, Adam. Like I hope you don't stay up all night and stuff. But I guess it's hard. When I was working shift work as a nurse, I used to come home and sometimes I'd have to start I'd come home and it finished at 11:15 the shift, and then I had to drive home, and by the time I got into bed it was probably about 12:15 or 12:30 or something. And then I had to get up at 6 o'clock because I had a shift starting at 7:15. And they did a lot of those kind of things of like a late shift and an early shift back to back kind of thing, which was kind of exhausting. I found I didn't really have much time for much else except nursing. You know?
Why do you need anything other than nursing?
Yeah.
Why?
It seemed to be okay though. And then of course I'd get my days off and then I'd go and visit my friends. But yeah, the shift thing was a bit nuts. Yeah, that wasn't so great. Those kinds of shifts. I mean, 6 hours sleep is, and that's if you get to sleep straight away too. But 6 hours sleep just doesn't cut it.
Yeah.
So good night. Oh, I've already said good night to. Yes, it wasn't so great. Anyhow, that cake was very nice, Dee Dee. It was very
good.
Boozy.
It was very what?
Boozy.
It was very boozy. Yes, I soaked the fruit for about a week.
Yes.
In increasing amounts of brandy and rum.
Yes.
And then spent a couple of days after I made the cake pouring rum over the top of it.
Yes. Very good.
And it's pretty boozy cake.
Yes.
It's yummy.
Okay.
What am I doing now?
I don't know. Is it going to? I'm just wondering if it's going to rain or if we have time for a walk tonight. Dee Dee.
Cadmium. I don't know.
Let's see.
I don't know. Maybe I should go and quickly change the water. We have water tanks. We live really rurally. One of the
it is going to rain tonight,
we've managed to live at a kind of semi-decent level is by being in the country, being very rural, where it's not so expensive and where we can grow our own food to a certain extent.
Yeah.
And that's been really good.
Okay. Yeah, that might be a good idea, Dee Dee, because it's going to apparently rain tonight a couple of times. I don't know how much, but it might be good to do that.
Yeah.
I can chat away while you're doing that.
Yeah, I need 4 of those. Okay.
Anyway, it says it's only 15 degrees Celsius right now.
Yeah, it's not very hot.
Which is great.
It's lovely. We kind of like
this is summer and it's 15 degrees Celsius, which is perfect for me.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of really hot weather.
Okay, well, why don't I go and zoom off to some place where it's pretty.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Dee Dee just has to turn on one of the pump that sort of sends collected rainwater up to the other tank. We have how many thousands of gallons do we have here, Dee Dee? We have a lot, don't we?
120,000.
100 all together?
Yeah, all together.
Including that tank over near the little.
Yeah.
Yeah, including that 120,000 gallons.
125,000.
125,000 gallons. Yeah.
Liters, not gallons. Liters.
Well, liters. Sorry, liters. Yeah.
We don't use.
That's true. We don't use gallons. Yeah, so that goes pretty well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's just in summer when it sort of stops raining, excuse me, and we have to water the fruit trees and stuff. We tend to, it's a bit taxing,
if we have
isn't
a
it?
hot summer, we use that up,
Yeah,
kind of.
yeah. So, if anybody's watching and you want to pop in and say hi, please feel free to do so and introduce yourself if you wish.
Yeah.
Oh, we've almost been going 2 hours now.
Okay.
Oh,
I'll go to this
I don't really have anything exciting on my screen. Is that normal? Do you?
What do you mean?
Well, here we go. I see.
I'm about to zoom off to a little planet.
I'm on a delay. That's a bit.
Something.
That's a bit steady. That's a bit
do.
spinny. Do we get to the planet? Because that's kind of a little bit nuts.
Yeah. That's teleporting.
Oh, okay. Will we get there soon? Because that's a little...
Oh my God! I'm going hundreds of light years, and you want in the matter of a minute or two, and you're impatient. You'd make a terrible interstellar traveler.
Oh, maybe not.
Yeah, there we go. Up. Okay. Oh, look, there's a rock in my
Kim
house.
says the boozy cake is making space travel difficult. Yeah.
The what?
The boozy cake is making space travel difficult. Yes, I have no patience.
Okay, well, I'm on.
Yeah. Oh, 10 minutes. Oh, okay then. No. Oh, yeah, okay. I've actually got some of my own videos being recommended to me. I hope it's not just to me. I hope it's recommended sometimes to other people. So, what? It must be like fairly. Is it early in the morning now, Kim? You're a little bit of a night bird too, aren't you? You and Adam. Yes, it's how I found your channel. Oh, really? You found my channel through some recommended stuff. Oh, that's nice that they occasionally recommend. I wasn't sure if they ever did that. I do a whole lot of inconvenient topics that Google and YouTube don't like. And sometimes, like I think I've mentioned this, while the election thing was on, for some reason I was getting a lot of people joining, and I didn't know why. There's about 250 people joined in about a month or 6 weeks or something, and then it stopped just after the election. So they must have released the algorithms a bit, and maybe they thought that I was maybe I was only criticizing Trump and not criticizing the duopoly. I don't know what it was. But the algorithms released, and then I got some more people, and I thought I better not get used to this, because I bet you it's just going to change at some point and it'll go back to, a dribble kind of thing. Sure enough, just after the election it returned to sort of, I get probably one person a day if I'm lucky. But I was getting probably 8 to 10 people a day for about 6 weeks or a month, and I thought, F you, YouTube and your bloody algorithms. Sometimes I wonder, like if people were just allowed to have their channel seen by whomever, whenever, you sort of wonder how if it might be different. And YouTube gave me just a little glimpse into how, just with a flick of an algorithm, you can actually get a whole lot more people seeing you. Because not everything I was doing, I mean, if I was ever talking about Trump, it was in relation to the Proud Boys or something like that. But I was always, I never just focus on one of them. I never, I focused on him in relation to the Proud Boys, but I mean, I never point out that there's one party worse than the other. But it's just it just pisses me off that it's really totally up to YouTube and their arbitrary algorithms and stuff. Oh, that was quick. Diddy? You might want to put a timer on. Yeah. So let's see. So Greg, excuse me. Greg said 33,021.61 gallons. That might not be, excuse me, allowed here. A guy, excuse me, a guy with a large pond was jailed a while back. Court said rainwater can't be collected. How much does that have to do with pollution? And how much has that got to do with the fact that the water police, the corporations, don't want people to have their own water, so they have to buy it? I don't know. I know in some cities, like rainwater wouldn't be terribly safe because of the pollution, but I don't know. Can people in the country collect water? Hey, Rooney. I was just, Greg was saying that you can't collect rainwater. You know how they've been sort of clamping down on people collecting rainwater, and
oh God, that's ridiculous.
And I was wondering whether it was if people in the country had those same had those same restrictions. The latter, I'd say, nothing to do with health. Yeah, it's disgusting, isn't it? Do they fine people that collect rainwater? And Greg said, it's about control. We are on the well, but need grid power to run the pump. And Adam said, ha ha ha, oh God, that's ridiculous, end quote, Dee. You were saying, oh God, that's ridiculous, and Adam was kind of laughing and crying at the same time over that one. Where is this, Dee? You're in some kind of a... Ah. And Greg said, if you collect and are conspicuous and a complaint. Will they let you sort of collect water to water your garden? I suppose not. I suppose it's all off the... it's a no-no.
Why would you not allow people to collect water?
Money.
Crazy.
Money, Diddy.
Money.
Yeah. Well, the corporations that are selling the water, I'm surprised they haven't decided to do something like that here. You know?
In New Mexico, when I was there, one of the things we did was go around and make we would do wind generators, create wind generators, and we would get old wind generators and refurbish them, because there was a big industry, wind generator industry, in the 20s and 30s. And in a lot of those towns, the when they put in reticulated power, one of the requirements for a town to get power was that they had to eliminate all of the wind generators. And so if somebody didn't want to eliminate their own wind generator, other people would come with like a shotgun and shoot it. And so they would bugger up the coils and so on. Fabulous. Yeah. Wouldn't allow, basically, the power companies who were putting in power would only agree to put power to the town if they eliminated all the wind generators that people had. You know, because up till then, the only way people had power was wind generators. And there was a big thing in the United States of wind generators in the 30s. And so there were a lot of places in little towns, rural towns, where they were running with wind generators. Oh, I'm not speaking into my mic. Okay, where they had wind generators. There were a lot of small towns where people had wind generators because there was no other power in the 30s. And when a power company came and said, we can put power poles and take, power from a power plant to your house, to a town, they said, but we'll only do it on the condition that you eliminate all of the wind generators in the town. And if people didn't want to eliminate their own wind generators, people would come and take rifles and shotguns and shoot into other people's wind generators to bugger them up. In places like Utah and Colorado and, in the Midwest, small towns. And so in the 60s, we would go around and buy up these buggered up wind generators and rewind them. We would fix them up and sell them. That was one of the businesses we had. And we ran our ranch, it was a commune, on wind generators. We had 3 wind generators, and we could run the wood shop and the machine shop and welding shop on and the ranch on wind power. And that was pretty fabulous. We had 3 kind of 2 kilowatt wind generators and big battery banks and so on. But yeah, I mean, it's like eliminating people's ability to be self-sufficient was a big thing for capitalists. They're buggers.
Well, also making sure you can't fix anything either.
Yeah.
Having to buy a new toaster because you can't fix it anymore.
Yeah.
I was just saying
see if I can get
how
here.
They make things so you can't fix them anymore, like the what do they call that when things are obsolescence? Yeah. And they're actually making that sort of a what country is it? Germany are making that sort of a no-no.
Oh yeah, Germany for many years now has had regulations that say
hi Holly,
to make recycling easier. They do things like say, if you're going to manufacture a refrigerator, for example, you can't use multiple different kinds of materials.
Yes.
You have to use like one kind of plastic.
Yes.
And one kind of metal.
Yeah.
So that it can be recycled easily.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love some of the phones and so on that you get in Europe, particularly in the Scandinavian countries, where they're actually modular phones, and you can upgrade your phones by pieces. You can upgrade the screen, or you can upgrade the memory, or you can upgrade
That's
different
fantastic.
bits of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Without having to get a new phone.
I'm surprised they're allowing that because.
Well, I mean, there's a company that does that because.
I know, but how you'd think they'd bring in a law to make sure you couldn't.
Make sure you can't.
Have they brought in a law to make sure? Hi, Holly.
No.
No,
they haven't made sure.
That's surprising.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. Well, so. Yeah, all these different, I don't know how many toasters we've had to go through. I mean, when I was growing up, we used to have just those flip-out toasters, and you just put it in and you had to kind of watch it so you didn't burn it. But they used to last for years years. And now you get these stupid effing toasters that are kind of, they're buggery after, I don't know, a few months. They kind of tend to lose coils and then you eventually, eventually after sort of a couple of years, you have to put it in 3 times to get it sort of any kind of color in it. They're ridiculous. Yeah. And they all look fantastic looking. They all look really modern. But,
they look modern anyway.
They're sort of really just worth going to the tip for after a couple of years, aren't they, Dee Dee? So you sort of I don't know, it's just appalling the amount of resources that go into making these obsolescent items. I mean, it's just insane. There's so many things about the way things are structured that are insane.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And, I mean, for toasters, you used to be able to get nichrome wire.
Right.
And be able to, if something happened to one of the, like in electric toasters, to one of the sides of the toaster, so it would only toast on one side or whatever.
Right, yeah.
You used to be able to get this wire and be able to rewind it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
The resistance wire that heats up.
Right.
And it was only a few dollars for a roll of wire, of nichrome wire.
Yeah.
And so you could fix your own toaster.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've done that with a few toasters.
Yeah,
and
really.
So on.
I wish we still had.
Yeah,
one of those
why not? I mean, it's ridiculous.
Those old toasters. Yeah. I mean,
it's one of the things that's really pissed me off about cars.
Of course, you could burn stuff, but I mean, pardon?
That's really pissed me off about cars. Like one of the things they talk about, cars being so much more energy efficient.
Yeah.
A lot of the reason they're more energy efficient is because they're made of really light materials that wear out really quickly.
Yeah.
And so instead of, spending money on petrol, you end up having to replace the car every 10 years.
Yeah, really.
And there's no way that's energy efficient.
No.
No. Because the old cars, I mean, they'd run for decades.
Yeah, they were built like a brick shithouse too.
Decades,
Like we have a friend who has a panel van, which is 30 years old now, Dee Dee?
Yeah, at least.
And he said that,
I think it's older than that. I think it's more like 40, 45 years old.
A car ran into his panel van, and the front of it was a write-off, and his car barely even had a dent. Yeah. I mean, that's sort of what how it's made, and it's been going all those years.
It was made of real steel.
We have it. We drive cars that are over 20 years old, don't we, Dee Dee?
Yeah, yeah. They're reasonably efficient, but they're 20 years old.
Yeah.
But one of the things too in Australia, one of the most disgraceful things is, I was involved in the legislation to change and they were putting a higher tax tariff on leaded petrol to try and get people to stop using leaded petrol.
Yeah.
And they finally put regulations to say you weren't allowed to sell cars that use lead petrol engines.
Right.
But there were, of course, all these cars, older cars, before that year, that used leaded petrol.
Yeah.
And so they were putting higher taxes on that.
Yeah.
But all that really meant is that poor people who were, because of gentrification, being driven into the outer suburbs, and they couldn't afford a new car, ended up having to pay more for petrol than anybody else, even though they had to drive further.
Yeah.
And we objected to that whole thing, and we pointed out that, the disgraceful thing about Australia and the car industry
Hi, Herb.
was that we had, like almost every other country in the world, including the Philippines and places like that, had regulated and said you can't have leaded petrol engines. 12 years before.
Oh, right.
Like the U.S. and Europe and Japan and all that had said you can't have lead petrol engines. So all of their cars were unleaded petrol.
Right.
But they were selling lead petrol, the same companies, Toyota, GMC, Ford, were selling lead petrol engines here in Australia because we didn't regulate that.
Yeah.
And it's like the Philippines was more advanced than us.
Yeah. And you know what our state government here does? They spent like $17 million doing this kind of, a couple of years ago, doing this kind of roundabout.
Hi, Herb.
Going underneath something. And we spend a lot of money on roads here. Like, they employ a lot of people. Sometimes it looks like they're just employing too many people to do the roads. And yet no one would think about putting a light rail in so that we could maybe use that and stop taking our cars into town, because you have to have a car basically where we live, because we're
everything
away
is so far away.
Yeah, we're quite a few kilometers away from even a bus stop, let alone a town, the first town and stuff. So, but they'd rather put millions and millions. Oh, I'm right. Thanks, Didi.
You sure?
Yeah, right now. Thanks. Yeah, millions and millions of dollars for roads, but nobody would think to put a light rail in, because we've got to keep this fossil fuel industry going, and we've got to keep our petrol fueled cars going, and they won't even think about putting in any electric. There's no way if you had an electric car.
They talk about, we'll have electric cars in the next 10, but there are no place to plug electric cars in.
But I don't know. Do you see really anybody selling any electric cars around here?
Well, they do have electric cars, or at least hybrid cars.
Yeah.
But there's no place to fuel them up except your house.
Yes. So you
they're
could only
a hobby.
Yes.
They're not a practical anything.
No. And I'm thinking, oh my God, here we are. We're so deep into this climate crisis, and we're not even able to get it together over here in Australia to have, in China, I think that every 8th car, it might even be more now, every 8th car is an electric car, or every 6th car. Yeah. And I think they're gradually introducing them, and they'll probably phase out.
And Germany is doing similar things too.
Yeah. But we don't have anything like we used to be a kind of a smart country once, didn't we?
We were one of the leaders globally.
And now we were just an absolute ridiculous backward, aren't we? Yeah, completely backward
absolutely
here now.
Backwards. Basically, almost every patent or anything that Australia developed, and some of it was really cutting-edge technology, has gone overseas.
Yeah.
And we don't have it.
No, we had some really good solar-type companies that ended up going overseas.
Yeah.
Hey, Didi, did you put a timer on for that water?
I did.
Oh, you did? Okay,
I did
great.
put a timer on for the water. We're talking about the water a little bit. We're on tank water.
Tank water, yeah.
We're far from town water, so...
Yeah. So we drink the rain.
Depend on the rain.
We shower in the rain. We drink in the
lovely,
rain.
Which is absolutely
it's
lovely.
fantastic.
We have the nicest water
it's gorgeous.
around the place.
Yeah, I tell you, it's a real shock when you actually eventually
have to go into town and drink
you drink the water there.
Yuck.
And you can really taste, the chemicals and stuff. Yeah. So I remember actually, it was interesting when I went from Brisbane to live in Melbourne for a while. I noticed actually, Didi, and I'm not sure why this is. I don't know if they put water softeners in Melbourne water.
Yeah. Kim says my bedside clock is older than I am, still works. Absolutely. A lot of those things work a hell of a lot better than the modern ones. Yeah. And Holly says in Cuba they remake American cars from the 50s. Yeah. Do they remake them, or they just repair them? I think they get used. They got a lot of used cars.
Yeah.
And people bought a lot of cars in the 50s.
Yeah.
And they've just restored them and kept them running.
It's amazing. The cars.
And they can be kept running.
They're gorgeous. Yeah.
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 And the one thing I noticed too with the older cars, like in the 60s and 70s and even the 80s, I always repaired my own cars, but that was before technology sort of took over in a big way.
Yeah.
You don't have anything cooking, do you?
Huh?
You don't have anything cooking, do you?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Oh, okay. I have a somebody talking to me in the game.
And Greg says, I've been following a guy, Lewis Rossman, here on YouTube. A Right to Repair advocate, runs an affiliated Apple repair shop in New York City. Unaffiliated, sorry. Ah, okay. His recent critique of the new French, quote, repairable quotient, end quote, law gives a perspective on the struggles to, quote, repair, end quote, in general. Ah.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a guy on YouTube that has he's a plumber, and he does a whole bunch of sort of videos on different, and he asks, and people can ask questions about his plumbing and stuff like that, how he does his plumbing. He's got a lot of people on his site.
One of the wonderful things in Sydney was there was a guy quite frequently in Sydney, because people had real constraints on storage and space, and because people got moved out of homes often, you end up seeing a lot of refrigerators and washing machines and so on the street to be picked up as rubbish. And he would go around and pick up all of these things. He was in Glebe in Sydney, and recycle them and give them away to poor people, or like really minor costs, you know. Like, he made it his mission to basically fix these things and give them away. And he actually got some money from local government because he was keeping them out of the tip, and he was also helping people without much money. And so they saw that as a real value. And he did that for years, and he finally died, I think, around 2001 or 2, and that was the end of that, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, I look at all the computer stuff that gets thrown away and stuff as outdated, and I think, why can't some of this be,
post the link,
you know,
if you want,
fixed up or just used for people who can't afford a computer? I mean, you can certainly, they may not be the most crash hot, you can't play the latest games with them.
I'm sorry, Bird is saying happy birthday to you.
Oh,
hi,
Bird.
Bird. Thanks
happy
for dropping by.
Happy birthday. Yeah, thank you. I'm happy to. Yeah, thank you for the happy birthday wishes.
Yes, thanks, Bird. Have a sweet dream. Sweet dreams.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dee Dee, I didn't mean to interrupt. So I'll just repost Greg's.
It's the middle of the night there, isn't it?
What's that?
It's the middle of the night there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm heading towards the galactic core. Let's see. I want to go there. 405 light years away. Woohoo!
Oh, it's 1:28 there. Okay.
Ah, yeah. It's the middle of the night. And Greg is giving some sort of a link.
Yeah, I've posted that now. I reposted that link. Greg was posting.
Thank you, Bird. She says, hello. Hope you have a great
I don't know if Bird is male or female or what gender they identify as. But anyway. Anyway, 1:28.
Oh, Holly's birthday is on the 31st.
Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness, Holly.
Well, happy birthday for you tomorrow.
Happy birthday for you tomorrow, wowza.
Yeah, it's the 30th, of course, here.
Yeah, oh, that's true. So it'll be another couple of days then.
Yeah.
For them.
Where the hell am I?
Wouldn't it?
Yeah. Am I being attacked? I think I am.
Oh, wow. Dee Dee's been calling herself the same age for the last 2 years, haven't you, Dee Dee?
More or less, yeah.
So,
are there any others?
Thank you, Bird.
Yeah.
You know what I do? I tend to call myself the birthday in advance. Like, I was calling myself Oh, actually, I didn't do it with the 60 thing because I'm 60 this year. But the 59, I call myself 59 for about 18 months, and but I'm still going to do it though because it always kind of you get used to it before it happens. Not that I have problems getting older and stuff. That's okay. I do have problems with entropy though. I'm not a big fan of the entropy thing. But I think though if you didn't,
no fun at all.
But I think if you didn't have the gradual entropy, I don't think it would. I think it'd be too much of a shock if you just dropped dead one day, and you didn't have any of the entropy that goes along with it. So Holly said it's 2:30 a.m. here, so I'll be going to sleep soon. Too. Yes, we'll probably wind this up soon because I've actually got some dinner on, and also I want to see if we can catch some sun and go for a walk before it gets dark. I think we've got probably less than an hour before it gets dark, so we'll probably wind up soon anyway. So lovely to see you, Holly, and thanks, Bird, for dropping in. We may do another one tomorrow. I don't know. It depends. I've got to watch my brother's. Well, I don't have to watch it, but my brother, because I'm not able to go up to Queensland for my brother's funeral, it's going to be a live stream online, so I'm going to watch that on Vimeo tomorrow. That's not going to be fun, really. It's very sad. So I'll be doing that at about 11:20 this time tomorrow.
This is huge.
And then we might go and do something nice. And then there's a little cat running back and forth in front of the
in front of me.
in front of the screen. He's so funny. He's not quite an adult yet, and he prances around, and he's just the sweetest little guy.
Hello, gorgeous.
Yeah, Kim, that's not one to look forward to. No.
I'm going to have to go out for just a moment and.
Yeah. My mother can't get there either because they won't let her out of the nursing home because of COVID, which is understandable and COVID's popping up all over the place now in New South Wales because some people were a bit naughty, and so yeah, we won't be going anywhere until there's some kind of safe, reliable vaccine. And anyway, so. Yeah, so Mum probably won't want to watch it watch the live stream because I don't know. I think she'll find that too upsetting. Hey, Didi.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Oh, bugger. I have the opportunity to buy yet a new freighter.
Anyhow, Didi, maybe we'll wind this up anyway because everybody's kind of going to bed anyhow, or sort of thinking about going to bed because it's late.
Okay.
So we might do that.
Okay.
So anyway, thanks so much for dropping in for Didi's birthday.
Yes, it's really lovely.
We've had a really nice day, haven't we, Didi? But we have to say we find every day every day nice day, don't we, Didi?
Yeah.
It's really, it's really like it just being alive and just being where we are and everything. We're very fortunate, and to live in such a lovely area that is war-free, and which is something a lot of people don't have, and I wish they did. But anyway, that's the sad reality today. Anyhow, so I might. So Greg said, "Happy birthday all round." That Rossman guy also is developing a free online wiki with videos on Apple MacBook repairs. Well, that's great. I'll check that out, Greg. That's really good. And Kim says again, happy birthday again, Didi.
Thank you so much.
And so anyway, we might see you tomorrow, and if not, we might see you on the other side of in 2021. And Didi, I might leave it up to you to
close down.
To close down, yeah.
Okay.
So Herb said, happy birthday, Didi. Thanks, Herb.
Thank you so much,
And Adam
Herb.
said, was a fun stream. Happy birthday. Take care. I was just about to say happy birthday to Adam.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks, Adam, so much for dropping in. And we'll talk to you soon. So peace out, and stay safe.
Thank you,
Stay
Kim.
safe.
Thank you, Adam. Thank
Big
you,
hugs.
Herb.
Big
Thank
hugs
you,
and much
Greg.
love to everybody.
Everybody, lots of love for
Lots
the
of
new
love.
year. And
Yes, may it be
yeah.
everything you wish it to be.
Yeah.
Okay.
And happy birthday, Holly, for tomorrow.
Yeah, happy birthday.
We may have to just come on
to
for
say
a little
happy
bit of
birthday.
time just to say happy birthday.
Yeah, really.
Okay.
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 Bye for
well,
now.
I'm going to end the stream now.
Yep.
Lots of love and bliss and joy for the coming year. And hopefully it's a hell of a lot better than last year.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.